Lake foiling demands 4 things from a board: easy to tow up, dock start, pump, and carve. A perfect board does all of these well, and of course it can't break for heavy riders or those dock starting. Today we're going to review 19 foil boards and pick our favorites for the lake. After trying all of them, we realized there are 3 features we love in a board. The first is a short and light board. Longer boards have more area that allow riders to plane on the water before flying, so they're certainly preferred for beginners. But once you learn to foil, short boards are great. The real estate ahead of your front foot or behind your back foot just isn't used very much, so it's extra weight. That extra unused weight just steals energy as you swing the board up and down with every pump. The second is a board that's thin and concave and wide at your back foot. Thin boards make you feel connected and closer to the foil, and they have less volume, so they're easier to sink and get on top of. A concave width at your back foot lets you push with your toe or heel against the board to create more leverage when carving. Having some leverage with your back foot helps you enter and exit sharp turns. The third is a stiff enough board. We always thought stiffer was better. We're not so sure anymore. There's a perfect pumping frequency for each foil, and there's an opportunity to use your board like a spring and find its resonance with the foil. If a board's too stiff, you're not resonating at all, and if it flexes too much, you're not getting enough power transfer. So we took some measurements, tested the boards in our labs, then hit the water. The Cabrinus Special Agent is very thin, making it too flexible to pump and too hard to tow up. The Indiana pump board's very stiff, making it easy to control and playful, but it's too thick, putting our feet further from the foil than we like. The Ride Engine Escape Pod has too much volume at 45 liters. It's too buoyant, so it's hard to tow up. The Disc 999 is the most unique board I've seen. Its perfectly placed foot pads are nice for pumping, but the base plate screw holes are compatible with only some foils. The Liquid Force Pod and Launch are great beginner boards with a lot of area, making them easy to tow up. The pod has fins for wake surfing as well. They're well priced, but a bit too long for advanced riders. The Slingshot WF2s are also great beginner boards for behind the boat. The soft foam top is a nice safety feature, but both are also too long for riders once they've learned to foil. The Apple Tree Mini is a nice size, but too flat in length and width, making it harder to control, and the deck material didn't grip as well as I'd like. The Axis pump board's a bit too thick and long for our liking, but it's stiff and has great decking material. The Axis tray's nice and thin, but has too much of a tray shape that isn't ergonomic, as it forces my front leg to bend more than I like, and my back leg carries most of the weight, which causes it to tire quickly. The Indiana inflatables have safe edges, which are great for beginners, but there's just too much buoyancy to tow up, and the boards flex too much for those who've already learned to foil. The Liquid Force Nebula is an ideal volume for water starting and has a nice concave shape under my back foot, but it would be nicer if it was just a bit shorter. The Freedom Whip is a bit thicker than we'd like, and I wish the decking material would exist every position my back foot takes, as sometimes I was on the board and not the decking, but otherwise we really like this board. The Dwarfcraft's been our go-to board for a while. It could be the most popular board. Its shape is excellent. I love how my front foot rides a bit lower than the back, and I like the concave shape under my back foot. There's a long one for beginners and a short one for advanced riders. This is a great board, but you can't be too hard on it. Heavy riders and dock starters sometimes break these boards. The Hopecraft is similar in size and shape to the Dwarf, but a bit more volume than our favorite Dwarf 100. We've been riding the Hope for the past couple of months. It's not as concave as the Dwarf, but it feels stiffer. We have 4 favorites, but we're not done yet. We needed to test their strength. When we pump, we pulse at about twice our body weight with our front foot for a brief moment. That's also the spot we load the board when dock starting. So we put these 4 boards to the test. The Freedom Whip broke at about 330 pounds. The Dwarfcraft sustained 380 pounds before failing catastrophically. The Hopecraft reached a surprising 460 pounds before we saw evidence of breakage. And finally, the Nebula reached almost 500 pounds before breaking. And that was too much for the mast too. For advanced riders, we recommend the Dwarfcraft 100. We love the shape and feel of this board, but if you're a heavier rider or worried about breaking it while dock starting, the Hopecraft is a stronger alternative. For intermediate riders, we recommend the Liquid Force Nebula. This was the strongest board we tested. At 3'8", it's a bit long for me, but the extra length and area will help intermediate riders get out of the water. And if you're a beginner, we like the Liquid Force Launch. It's one of the most inexpensive boards and a great way to get into this sport. You can find a summary of everything at a link in the description. We'd like to thank all of these retailers for giving us these boards so we could share our experience with you. And if you'd like to support our channel and our product testing efforts, please use our links in the description and our coupon code at these major retailers. We earn a small commission and we'll send you a gift to thank you for your support. And as always, please don't hesitate to reach out.